Great. Okay, so welcome to today's session. This is basically just an introduction to Google Sites, just the benefits that it has for business, and just 10 possible uses of Google Sites. And just covering through that. Travis Wade, I'm a Groves Marketing Campaign Specialist, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions as we go along. Just to give you an overview of the agenda that we're going to be covering today, it's really just 10 key points, just covering key features of the Google Sites platform offered with Google Apps for Business. So just really just how to structure your company information, that no HTML is needed for the solution, how to manage teams, just that it is accessible from anywhere, creating an internal blog just for company information, assigning viewing rights to specific pages, creating a site using custom themes and templates, and creating a login area for all your apps within the organization, and integrating Google Groups into Google Sites, which is another solution from Google Apps for Business, which allows for a collaboration. And then just general questions that you may have. So that is it from the presentation point of view. So this is really just a live demonstration of the interface. So here you'd see just a typical view of what a Google site could look like. Just to mention in the offset that there is a common misunderstanding that Google Sites is really, its main functionality is to create a company website, where it can actually be used for this. It's not the primary function of Google Sites. The primary function really of a Google site is to create a corporate intranet for an organization that is accessible from anywhere and on any device. So with that in mind, let me just give you an introduction. Let me just give you an introduction of what Google Sites has to offer. And yeah, just you'll take a look here, and this is the home page of how a Google site could look. You'll see an overview here that in the top left-hand area, this entire section here is an area that you can have your corporate branding. You can extend to the full reaches or the width of the site. And just that you are aware that it is completely customizable. You can change it completely according to the specifications of your corporate information, when it goes to fonts, the visual appeal that you have on your corporate intranet, etc. So the home page is really structured around using a central place for users to log onto the site and access information that is pertinent for that day. So common uses that we found for Google Sites on the home page is really to incorporate a business calendar, and this can be used for any upcoming events that are available or are occurring in any location. And also we can incorporate additional calendars into this Google site. So something that we could incorporate into this is something like a leave calendar. And also we could incorporate just birthdays, particular events of interest. Okay, so yeah, just moving on from that. This is on the right-hand section. Here is a company news tab, and this is used with a Google group that we'll get into later as we go along. But the Google group is really used for internal company information, and what this does is just consolidate your information rather than having everything come by email. You have all company information or updates on the Google sites in this area over here. What we can actually do in this section, though, is also to have a notification for users via email so that they know that a post has been created. But just to help drive user adoption, we find that companies enjoy to exclude notifications. In this instance, it's a marketing notification. Exclude email notifications that the users are drawn back to the Google site. That it just helps to drive user adoption. So a couple of points and tricks that we go through just to assist with that. Another form of incorporating information or updates into the site is creating announcements. And this is a internally hosted section where announcement can be made in the form of a sort of blog look and feel, and that is held within the site, and users can reply to those announcements, or they can download an attachment from that announcement. So it's really great. Both areas can be used just to consolidate company information and just keep things nice and neat and clean. In addition to that, we've got something called for global news. And all these items that we see on the homepage are something that we called Google Gadgets that are specifically built for Google Sites. And for this particular instance, we're using just a news gadget, and we can actually define the type of news that we're wanting to display on this particular gadget. So for this instance, we've got world news and some technology news. You can also make it specific to location, so for South Africa or UK, depending on your company preference. Another great use just for the homepage that we found is that we have a lot of training videos that we create for our users internally, and something that often comes up is a learner management system style of information that users can get onto the Google site or the corporate intranet, and they can access any information regarding training or updates. So it's that you are aware you can incorporate any type of YouTube video, videos that are integrated from Google Drive. So yeah, the scale is quite big when it comes to being able to build that out. Just on the look and feel of the structure of the site as well, you also have a footer area where you can embed all your social media icons, perhaps a disclaimer that you may want to incorporate into that area. Also on the sidebar, a couple of gadgets that we found work really great are just an update to a particular event. So this is just an example of the next event date, and this will just count down according to the event date time. In addition to that, just giving users the ease of use of one system, that they're not confused about where they need to access certain information, how they can log on to different areas. So for this instance, we have just a couple of links through to apps that you may have within your organization, and this can be scalable according to any app that you may have that is cloud-based. And this would just have a link that goes straight through to that specific app. So yeah, just moving on from there, just that you know that there's no HTML knowledge required to actually use a Google site. It's a simple WYSIWYG editor. So if I just show you how to edit this homepage, if I click on the edit button, you'll see the options that come up are just a typical font that I can just change, and I can change it according to bold, italic, the typical information that you'd expect from a WYSIWYG editor. You don't need any HTML knowledge to create a Google site, but it is nice to know that if there is some integration that you're wanting to do, that this can be incorporated into the Google site. A great scenario for this is something that we offer is integrating with solutions like SAP or any other hosted ERP type of systems, and that's where a sort of custom development and expertise with HTML really come in handy. Okay, so I'll just delete that and save it. And just to show you that if you save it, it happens in a matter of seconds, and the site is completely visible again. So that is a typical homepage layout that you can see, and that you are aware that only users within your organization are able to access this information. So the site can be made public, or the site can be limited to a certain amount of users, but only if they have been specifically granted privileges to the corporate intranet, they'll be able to access the information. Further from there as well, you are also able to limit the information that they see within the site as well. But we'll get into that in a bit more detail later on another section. So just to show you the accessibility or the scalability of the site, if I edit this page and just show you what the actual gadgets look like, these are just the basic gadgets that I've embedded for the site. But to insert a gadget, we could just go to the insert button, and there is a range of items that we could embed there. So we could embed images, we could embed table of contents, Google Drive documents, charts that you may have that you're wanting to feed from, let's say, for instance, a leave management system that you're wanting to have a graphical reflection of when your users are taking leave. You can have Picasa photos, which is great. You just paste a URL of a Picasa slideshow, and that's immediately added to the Google site. Also, your corporate presentation or documentation. It's important to note that the Google site is built for best compatibility for Google Apps for Business, which includes documents, Drive, spreadsheets, and presentations, etc. So you're going to find the most power in utilizing those solutions as well. But to insert a gadget, and if there's something that you're looking for, there is just to show you that there is a store of public gadgets that can be embedded. So here we've got something like a Twitter feed, news elements. We can embed YouTube, PayPal options, and they've got hundreds upon hundreds of apps that you can add in there. And once you embed it, it just looks like this gray box that's inserted, and you can edit and delete it as you please. Okay, so just to move on from that section, and just to show you a document repository that you can use, because often we find that users are in mobile locations, they've only got a mobile device with them, or perhaps they don't have consistent internet connectivity. So it's great to know that no longer do they have to patch in via complicated VPNs, but they can just get access to the Google site and access the information from their mobile device, tablet, or computer. So to give you a view of what a documentation library could look like is something like this. So it's really just a basic example of the different types of information that we can embed into the site. And one is a static document which is held onto the site, or contained within the site, and the other one is linked to a Google Drive. So just to show you that anything that is changed in the Google Drive version is updated automatically and is fed into the Google site. So just to show you an overview, this is just an example of a corporate a template that we could use, and this particular template is only visible to the users within the organization, but only editable by the administrators of the document. So if there is a specific look and feel that you're needing to go for in your organization, this is an excellent use. So the users would just copy this template, and then they'd use it for a particular proposal, etc. Something that is great about that option is that if you don't want users to have access to this particular document, you can limit the users on a per user basis. So we can exclude someone within the organization from actually having access to this document if it is sensitive material. Just to show you an example of a static document which is held on the Google site's storage facility, we can either just download this or we can view this. So downloading will just keep it on your local drive, and viewing it, you would just be able to view the information that is contained within that documentation. And for this instance, it's just a technical document for the salespeople to use. And yeah, we just basically set this according to a company hierarchy of documentation. So stationery, collateral for particular events, event invitations, and the list goes on. Great. So that you are aware, we do offer within the Google Sites interface a human resources options, which is a custom developed option, which assists users to submit details through something like a Google form. And what happens then is that we can capture employee information and we can manage a leave system, and that gets approved by, for instance, the HR manager. And once that leave has been approved, that then is linked to a calendar, and that calendar is visible to the HR manager and to the particular employee. So where that becomes scalable is to have the complete visibility for senior level decision makers on the home page on a calendar of all the leave days that employees are taking within a particular month. So yeah, just that you are aware that can be created, and the information is just submitted through a Google form very similar to this, and the information is just kept very neat according to just subcategories, so that you know that we can create drop downs for that. Okay, so just jumping onto something where you'd want to manage teams, particularly for an organization that has offices in various locations. We have different options where we can actually embed information into the Google site, and then we can just basically track the information and collaborate in real time on one document. So for this example, we can take a look at this particular document, which is reporting stats, and this document is managed by per user, and for this instance it's just A, B, C, D, E, and they are responsible for the different columns within the within the spreadsheet, and they are responsible for typing in the information according to their name. So there's up to 50 users that can use a spreadsheet at one point in time, and we can all collaborate on the spreadsheet at one single point. So that you are aware that you can just change the information, and in real time this information would reflect then on the Google site. So for this instance, we've got a dashboard here of reporting metrics that are available for instance, senior level decision makers. And to show you that it updates in real time, we'll just distort some of the numbers a bit, and you'll see that as soon as we refresh the page on the reporting dashboard, that the information will then change. So we've got a completely different viewpoint of what is happening within the company. So that's great to be able to use that in a real-time environment. There's no need to have a version control for documentation, having to go back and forth, and for users to see what information is the most recent. It all happens collaboratively and in real time. So this is great for a bird's eye view of the company. So yeah, just that you're aware that really helps for management of teams. Also, as I've also mentioned, you can access the Google site from anywhere. So any device that has an internet connection can access the information, because the site is optimized, or there's a selection to optimize the site for mobile users. So that can go from anything from a PC to tablet, a Chromebook, and smartphone. So there is really no excuse for users not to be able to access the information that they do require, and very, very easily, as a matter of fact, as well. Just to touch on something with regards to a community, A great drawing card for users to come through to the Google site is to create a community for them. A reason that they can perhaps interact with certain people within the organization, or just have something to look forward to on a more social side when it comes to the company and to just information. So for this instance, there's just a look and feel of a blog post, as I mentioned earlier, and this is just a company-focused area for either social updates. We can also use this area for a classified section. What we found is that users can have a look and feel like Gumtree and have post information about things that they're selling, or post information about if there's a need for particular training, etc. So that can all be held in one page and managed by either the different departments or by a single administrator. So in this example, there's just a announcements page, and the users can interact with the announcements by posting replies to in a normal look of a blog look and feel. Okay, so what you can also do with that announcements page is you can feed that information directly into the home page. You can feed that information directly into the home page, and that is visible to all the users. That you are aware also that you can limit the visibility of this page. So if you don't want the full announcements page to appear, the full announcements page won't appear. But as an administrator, you'd have the privileges to post announcements in this way. While we're on the announcements type of look and feel, I showed the Google group, which is on the home page, and that is just that information is kept off-site through Google Groups, and the information posted to this particular gadget is posted via email. So the administrator has the option of sending to a particular email address, and this would be demogrove marketing at yourdomain.com or at grovis.com, and then that would immediately integrate into the Google site. And as I mentioned earlier, you can have the users get an email notification of that post, or you can exclude them from getting an email notification that the information is kept on site. And as you look into the post information, you'll see you can have different text there, basically a miniature email that you've got within your Google site, and you are able to add attachments here as well. So just for this instance, we attached one of our solutions logos. Something that we also found is very beneficial is limiting the accessibility of the different pages. So something, a great scenario for this would be the senior level executives would want to see all of the company information. The administrators would want to see everything plus be able to edit everything, so that is also possible. And let's say, for instance, the sales team, you're wanting to limit them visibility to actually see this reporting dashboard. So a great feature that Google Sites has is called page level permissions, and this allows you to specify the specific user that has access to this particular tab. And once you include that tab, that'll include all the drop-downs. So it's scalable from a point of view that there's one pointer of administration. The users don't need to go through to another system to pull information that they require. Specifically for reporting, a great use of it is to actually pull through information from CRM systems like Salesforce.com, and that is fed live into the dashboard, allowing users to have complete visibility from all the different systems in one single area, which really does help for just increased productivity and time, etc. So just to show you how something like this can be done, the back end of the site is accessed through the More tab and through Manage the Site. And through this area, we've got an option just to really change the visibility of the different pages. So every site has the option just to enable page level permissions. And once those page level permissions are enabled, we can select different users to have different access to any particular page that we want. Going forward, if we have particular users that join the company, we can automatically add them onto particular pages, or we can exclude them from being added onto particular pages. So it really does cover any possible scenario that you could encounter with giving users the access to the information that they require. But while we are in the back end of the site, I'll just give a brief overview of the information that you can change in this area. And as the owner of the site, you can have somebody that can edit the site, so they can edit the content of the site, but they can't edit the structure of the site. So you can take a look at the recent site activity, the pages that are available in the site. Attachments are great for the document library that you have hosted within Google Sites, and to manage or delete any information that is perhaps out of date. Page templates are created according to your particular look and feel, so you can create a page template according to your company branding, which can be published, and then other users can create a Google site that looks exactly like your corporate branding. App script is where information is embedded according to scripting, where you can link applications that perhaps sit off-site, that link to something like a SQL database, or even perhaps any ERP systems like SAP, Salesforce, etc. Yeah, and then also the option just to change the just the general look and feel of it. You can monetize the site if it is a public site, and then also just change the general look and feel of the site within the back end. A great thing also to note with just touching on the page level permissions again, is that you can set users up according to their different departments. So we can set up Google groups according to the different departments within our organization. So instead of having to change the accessibility of certain information per user, you've got one email address that incorporates all of the users within, let's say, for instance, marketing or the HR department, and it's just really a click of one button, and the whole group has access to a whole range of information. Just to show you how easy it is really to create a Google site, we can create a Google site based on predefined themes. So if we take a look at a site from creating it from scratch, I can create a site pretty easily with a standard look and feel that has been designed with common trends in mind. So for this instance, we can take a look at some featured themes that can be created, and you've got different options here of a classroom site, a professional site template, and we can just take a look at one of these examples, and we can preview the template before we actually create the site. So just that you can take a look at that. It generates the site according to a standard look and feel. So we have the backgrounds already embedded. We've got some gadgets that have already been embedded. The navigation has been created, and there's different announcements and areas that you can have to embed the information that you require. And to use this template, we would just click on Use a Template, and it would actually create the site. What we do find, though, is that users are very specific according to what they want for their site. So we custom build sites according to navigation items, and in this instance, this is a horizontal navigation option, and according to their corporate branding. So we can it's fully customizable according to a person's needs or company's needs. Okay, So one area that's always been raised is accessibility. Often users are perhaps not used to the Google Apps interface or Google Sites for that instance as well, and they just want one easy to remember way to access the information that they require immediately. So one way that we created for users to access the information is to really just click on the different apps that they have within the organization, but also to create a company-wide bookmark for organizations. So what happens is a user would log onto their, and this works specifically for Chrome browsers, they would log onto their computer, open Chrome, and we would automatically load the Google site on their side, and perhaps, for instance, their Gmail. So the users, we guarantee that the users will have access whenever they are at their workstations to the information that they require. And this is completely customizable through the Google Apps console from an administrative level. But another great way to access the information on a Google site or company intranet is to create a shortened URL. So what we do is we collaborate with the web administrators and just create a redirect through to the corporate intranet, and that is created. For instance, in the following scenario, we can have the corporate domain /intranet, and that would redirect to the company intranet. In addition to that, we can also add in a bought domain into the site that it automatically maps to an alternative domain name. It's important to note that although those domain names are publicly visible, the user has only got the accessibility based on what the Google site has been set. So those privileges supersede any other privileges. Great. So just touching on the expense claim. So a great way just to consolidate any information, and just in this example, we've got two options where we have users in the UK and within South Africa, and there's obviously different currencies that apply. So if a user needs to submit a claim for a particular expense, we can set this area up to only allow them to submit an expense before a predefined date. So let's say they can only submit the expense 5 days before the expense date will occur, and that is set with some custom development. But also they can just input their details, and the great thing about sites as well is that it captures the information automatically. So the user doesn't need to input their first name, last name, and email address. It's automatically captured because they are signed into the Google Apps account. So we can just click on the office location, and we can select a day, a month, and a year, and they can select a different drop-down of expense types and any details just to justify the reason for that expense. Then the currency is selected, and then the amount in the specific currency. The reason that we do this is that in the back end, some great functionality occurs that users are actually we can actually in real time manage the particular budget allocated for expenses for a particular type of expense type, and we can calculate that immediately. So we can approve that or know whether to approve that or not in real time. And then also to approve the expense, a manager would just need to, in a Google spreadsheet, insert a yes into one of the columns, and that would send out a custom email to the user based on the date, based on the type of expense and the amount of expense, and notify them whether that has been approved or not. So it really just streamlines the process of expenses. And we've done a couple of these type of projects where we embed specifically for consulting services, where we manage the time of the consultants and their subsidiaries according to when time is scheduled for a particular meeting and the revenue from that particular meeting, etc. So it's really quite a powerful tool. Great. So once this information is submitted, then I can send a copy of the information to myself, and then also it is submitted into a database. Then just touching on the training side of things. So what we find specifically for our Google Apps customers is that Google Apps is a daunting solution if you're not familiar with it. Although it is very easy to use, we find that people really just want a guideline of where to start, what do we need to do with the system, where do I gain access to my information. So in this instance, we've got information that is embedded into the site in the form of a training portal. So users can access information about Google Apps, and it's structured according to their first days, what they need to do to get set up. So if the user is just proactive and manages the adoption, they can utilize the system to their full potential. What we do find is that we help customers through this journey as well. If it's too daunting, we guide them through training seminars, etc., just to help them firstly set up the system, and then secondly allow them to utilize the system to its best potential, that they become experts of utilizing the Google Apps suite of products. Okay. So just to show you one more thing on the sort of the expense summary, so we can embed the information either into the expense summary or into, let's say, for instance, the reporting dashboard where the information is kept live. So all this in mind, it's a great solution to utilize and to consolidate all company information, and it's really just an introduction to what Google Sites can be used for. As I mentioned earlier, that Google Sites is a solution that is misunderstood, that it's what the actual functionality of it is, or what it's actually intended to do. So there's a couple of best case uses of a Google site, and specifically for health and recruitment, there's social media integration, Active Directory for users, for airlines, found that a claim procedure for their flight crews, check-in and check-out times. For freight forwarding companies, we've got cross-platform integration, integration between legacy and cloud environments like Google Sites, and geolocation services that we can integrate into Google Sites. So that is more of a high-end approach at the functionality of Google Sites. But yeah, that's basically it from the information of Google Sites. If you have any questions, I'll take you off mute, and then we can chat in real time.